Hey, welcome back. Week 37, team building. This is video 3, our final video of the week. And in this video, we're talking about hiring quality employees. First video was on your foundation and team building. Second video was on career path. This video, all about hiring quality employees. Listen, if there's one thing we hear a lot from our clients is that they don't believe that there are enough high quality employees out there available for them to hire. And I'm not going to lie, I strongly disagree with this statement. There are plenty of quality employees out there for people to hire. I think generally, if you can't find a quality employee, it has a lot to do with your leadership skills, and it has a lot to do with how you're marketing your company through your job descriptions, both of which we've already covered. But here are some tips on finding high quality employees. So here's what we're going to talk about in this section. Then we're going to jump to those tips I just talked about. So first one is, how do I find more qualified employees? Okay, we're going to cover that. Then we're going to talk about reducing your turnover rate. I'll cover, why do my employees quit so frequently? Spoiler alert. Do you have a career path? How are you as a leader? And then fourth, I'm sorry, I can't count. What if I have an employee who's really negative? And again, spoiler alert, fire them. Although Corey would say, make sure you're at least giving them the opportunity to improve, which yes, obviously. But I'm assuming if you're coming to us with that problem, it's because you've tried everything and you're trying to figure something out. Okay, let's dive into how to find more qualified employees. First off, it starts with how strong of a leader you are, right? So head on over to week 51 if you haven't already started to look at that, and look at how to build your leadership skills. Giving you some tips in video 1 of this series of this week, but it all comes down to growing and developing your employees, having a career path for them, including them in decision making, being transparent with them, being a strong communicator, setting expectations, having boundaries, making it clear for your employees what is and isn't tolerated, not gossiping, don't participate in it, don't let your employees see you doing it, don't be that guy or girl, don't be a hypocrite, right? You need to be strong on leadership, and you need to make it clear what leadership looks like for you and your company. Okay. Build a culture that people want to be a part of. Man, this is so easy. Such an easy way to win with employees, right? Have a culture that people want to be a part of, that they get excited to come to work for. A culture where you're getting a lot done. Customers are happy. You reward good behavior. You reward positive customer feedback. You reward finishing goals on time or ahead of schedule. You reward your employees. You acknowledge, you say thank you. You make a big deal out of your team, because without your team, you wouldn't really have anything going for you. Your team is the people that are the people that execute and deliver everything that's getting done in your company. Why would you not reward that? Why would you not acknowledge it? Why would you not say thank you? Coach your team, develop them, offer them opportunities to learn new skills, have contests with them, do silly things. Let them be a part of the overall big picture decision making. One of the things that I used to do with my team, one of my teams, and this was one of the best high performing teams I ever built in my career, is we would sit down at the tail end of every year and we would figure out, like, hey, what's going to be our theme for next year? And like, what are the big things that we want to do as a team? What do we want to focus on? That's, work related, but more like fun for us stuff. Right. And we would come up with, our theme for the following year would be like, own it, or win the day, or learn something new, whatever it was. I remember the own it one so clear. And we would just do these really cool things where everybody would contribute, right? Where I had this big glass vase and I said, everybody go out and like find 1 or 2 things that are really, really important to you, that represent who you are. And let's put them in this vase, right? And I mean, don't put anything in here that you absolutely are going to need back. You might get it back, but no guarantees. And, people would just put really cool things in there. Like if someone just had a baby, they'd put like a jar of baby food in there or whatever, but it represented the whole team, and it was their why. Why were they coming to work every day? What were they doing? So simple, but so motivating. And the team just felt like they were a part of something bigger than themselves, because they knew what everyone else's why was. And they knew that it was important that the whole team shared in that experience. So it's easy. There's so many easy things that you can do to just build a culture that people want to be a part of. And it doesn't have to cost a ton of money. It's just really engagement and being transparent and asking people to get involved. Have strong core values, right? So make sure that everybody knows what the core values of the company are, that people can recite them to you. I used to make my team recite off the core values for the company on their 90th day. So when they made it through the onboarding period on their 90th day, I would say, tell me our core values. And when they recited the core values, that was the end. That was the end of their onboarding period. And I made a big deal out of that. But those core values mean something. There's a reason you have core values in your business, and you want your employees to be aware of them, and you want them to live them and breathe them. You want them to just be second nature to them when they're working, when they're talking with customers, when they're talking with each other, when they're, alone in the building and they got to do the right thing. They should never question it, because they know what the core values are. So they're infinitely important to your business. Write job descriptions that are reflective of your core values. Hire based on your core values. Interview based on your core values. Don't do anything without considering your core values, because that's how you're going to build a team that's going to represent what you want them to represent for your business. Offer benefits. If you can afford to offer benefits, offer benefits. And if you can afford to do it on day one, do it on day one. Be competitive about it. Do some analysis. Figure out what your competition is doing. Find out, survey your employees. What would they like for benefits? And I'm not just talking health insurance or dental insurance or time off. Are there other things that they'd like? Right. And a lot of times there's these little things that you can do if you're like, depending on what your business is and what your business model is. But I used to just give my employees, like at like 1:00 on a Friday, I'd be like, y'all can go home. Like, great week this week, go home, take the extra half a day. Now, half my team wouldn't even take me up on it, because one, they really enjoyed their job, and two, they were like, no, I've got these things that I really, really want to finish, and so I'm going to get these done, but thank you. And I'm like, well, you can bank it and use it some other time. And sometimes they would, but sometimes they wouldn't. But that just speaks to how much they were living the core values as well, right? I offered them up day off, no cost to them, and they were like, no, thank you. So it's a way to create a winning culture. And it's a way to just really give back to your employees that it's very inexpensive for you. And, find other benefits that you can give them. Can you give them reimbursement of some sort? Can you give them, personal development courses where you're bringing somebody in to teach them about personal finances, or health and wellness people? Encourage competition where you're getting, like, everybody competes to see who can get the most steps a day for a month or something like that, and reward people for participating. But offer up benefits. Have a strategy for interviewing. Don't just wing it, right? And don't make interviewing fun. It doesn't have to be like this arduous, terrible process. I'm pretty sure I just said arduous wrong. I don't even know that that's a word, but we're going with it, guys. We're going with it. But when you interview, like, first off, let people know what to expect. Let candidates know what to expect. Here's our interview process. Is it one interview? Is it a phone interview and then an in-person? Is it a phone interview and a Zoom? Is it a face-to-face, a face-to-face, and a face-to-face? Like, tell people what the process is on the front end, so that they know, and so that they're not feeling like, oh, I don't know if this is going well, because they don't know what the process is. So tell people what the process is, but also make it engaging and make it fun. There's no reason that you can't enjoy the interview process. Get to know the people, have it be conversational. Panel interviews kind of blow for the candidate. They're easier on the company, but they're tough on candidates, because now you've got 2 or 3 people at the same time, and you feel a little bit like you're in front of the firing squad. So, keep that in mind. If you have to do panel interviews, then at least apologize for having to do panel interviews and tell people like, look, we know this isn't the best option, but we really wanted to interview you. And this is the only way we could make the schedule work. And, people, obviously candidates are going to be okay with any interview, but like just ease their stress over it or their anxiety, because panel interviews really raise anxiety for people. And I think frequently people forget how tough it can be to have to sit through a panel interview when you're being interviewed by 3 or 4 people at the same time. Offer a career path for everyone. So we covered career path in the second video here. Career paths are really important. They help with team building. They help keep people around. They motivate people, and they really help you accomplish goals because people are learning new skills so they can advance to the next stage of their career within your company. And then teach skills so that your employees are constantly developing, right? Those are things that you can do. I mean, teach people about personal finance, teach people about health and wellness, teach people how to do project management, teach people how to do other skills that are in the organization that aren't necessarily part of their job. If you've got somebody who's really interested in graphic design or marketing, teach them graphic design and marketing. Let them learn it. They'll be a great asset for you should you ever need someone to cover because someone is out or on maternity leave or somebody suddenly quits or whatever the situation is. But more importantly, it builds loyalty and people want to work for companies that will invest in them. So invest in your employees. Okay. That's how you find more qualified employees. You do those things and you let people know you do those things because your job description is a marketing tool. So include those things in your job description. That's how people know you do them. How do you reduce your turnover rate? All those things I just said should help with turnover rate. Again, excuse me, people will work for leaders they want to work for. People will work for strong leaders. People will work for leaders who are investing in them and teaching them new skills. People will work for leaders who let others lead and make decisions. So be a strong leader. It'll reduce your turnover rate. Build a culture that people want to be a part of. People will get excited about. Don't have double standards. Don't play favorites. Yeah, we all have favorites. Even as parents, you have a favorite child. Don't pretend you don't. Everyone has favorites. Don't play favorites at work, though. Don't be a gossip. Don't criticize people in public. Don't make people feel bad. Give people the opportunity to grow and develop. Have the benefits. Look, everything we said in the first one for how to recruit qualified employees will also help you to reduce turnover rate. Let's talk about why your employees might quit so frequently. Do you suck as a leader? I know, it's so harsh. There's a lot of ways I could say that. It's not even how it's written on my note card. How it's written on my note card, which by the way, when you see me looking up here, it's because I'm reading my notes. What I have written on my note card says, how strong of a leader are you? But let's be real. We've talked about strong leadership already multiple times. I want to know, do you suck as a leader? Nobody wants to work for sucky leaders. They just don't. If you're not good at leadership, it's going to be really tough for you to retain quality employees. So go get yourself some leadership skills. Go check out week 51. Pause. I'll wait here. Kidding. We're going to keep going. You can pause and come back later if you want to. What does your benefits package look like? Have you surveyed your employees to see what they think about benefits? Do you have a career path? Like, what can you do to improve the career path? What do your employees want to learn? Do your employees see a future with you? How do your employees feel valued? That's one of the most important things is, do you feel valued and do your employees feel like they're adding value? Are they empowered to add value? I'm sure you've heard Corey and or I tell this story before, but that's why we both left corporate America, because we felt like we had so much value to add and we couldn't add it without having to explain to someone else what we were doing, because that's just, corporate America, when someone else is making all the decisions, they don't really let you decide how much value you're going to add to a client without there being some type of penalty or something, because you're not charging enough, or it's taking you too long, or you're not getting your other work done, whatever it is. So that's why we left. So make sure your employees feel empowered to add value and to give great service. And my number one reason why people usually leave, nobody wants to work for a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Are you being a jerk? Don't be a jerk. Nobody wants to work for a jerk. Okay, final topic in this video. What if I have an employee who's really negative? Okay, I know I said earlier, fire them. I think what you have to do is figure out like what's going on. Is it somebody who's typically a really nice person and all of a sudden they've just become a jerk? Well, there's probably something else going on. So be the kind of leader who cares enough about your employees to find out what's going on, to find out what's happening. Is there anything happening in their world that's causing them like extra stress, and what can you do to help that? Sometimes people just, you know, our stress and our anxiety comes out sideways on occasion. So talk to your employees and find out like what's going on and how can you help them work through it. And in all honesty, if things don't change, then you've got to have a different conversation. But if this is somebody who was a good employee and all of a sudden things have just shifted, like find out why, have a conversation, talk to them and see if they're okay, and take it from there. But don't just make assumptions, and don't just fire them off the bat unless they've done something that violates policy, and then you need to have a different conversation. But that's my advice. Is it's really hard to get good employees, and or can be, to get qualified employees, right? And to build a team that everyone wants to be a part of, that takes effort. So you don't want to just tear that down by one, letting negative employees continue to exist within your company, but two, you want to give people every chance to course correct if it's a drastic change in behavior. So there's some conversations that you need to have in order to see what you can do to help the situation. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. This is week 37, team building. There's been 3 videos. This is the final one. As always, if you've got questions, please don't hesitate to reach out because we've got answers. And if you want to learn more about building strong teams, building high-performing teams, or just leadership in general, hey, hit us up because this is something that we are experts at. And you can always join the live Q&A that we do every month where we answer questions from people who are enrolled in Foundation 52. Can't wait to see you next week.